Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at On the Underground, the Paris and New York edition, which is brought to you by Looty Creations. It's for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and games generally run about 45 to 60 minutes. In On the Underground, your main goal is to tactically build the most appealing routes for the laziest passenger in the world. This version features 2 new maps, Paris and New York City. Paris is the city of light, love, and home to the Metropolitan, known for its Art Nouveau entrances, its density, and origin of the word metro. Paris is a thoughtful map offering many options. To win, you need to strike the right balance between collecting sets of tokens, connecting secret destinations, blocking other players while not being blocked yourself, and of course carrying the passenger. Paris is the refined elder sister of the original On the Underground, the London map, and is recommended for experienced players. New York City is more than just the most populous, dense city in the United States. It is cultural, financial, educational, political epicenter that defines our understanding of the modern urban area. New York is a fast-paced map reflecting the hectic pace of life in the Big Apple. It encourages players to mirror real life by creating lines through Manhattan, but you have to build quickly to keep up with the always moving passenger. So yes, this is a new edition of On the Underground. You know, the original was London and Berlin, and now we have Paris and New York. And all the maps work slightly different in how you engage with the different areas and get different points and so forth. And we'll take a look at the differences between New York and Paris here. But the thing let's start with is the basics. First and foremost, I have to say I love the theme. You have the laziest passenger in the world, and you have to build lines that they will travel upon to get you points. And it's really that simple. And then there's other additional things on the map we'll take a look at that can get you points as well. But really, your goal is to get him to move from destination to destination, and whatever the closest destination is, he's going to follow. Now, the basics here are literally you have 4 actions, but you only have 2 choices. You can grab a branch tile, or you can lay a track piece, and that's really it. Now, initially in the game, you obviously won't have any tracks laid, but when you first lay your track, you can start wherever you want. But remember, you need to think strategically for later in the game. Don't just react to where the passenger is, because you're going to want him, he's going to be traveling a lot. So you keep that in mind as you create this overall path around the city. Now, once you lay your track down, then you always have to continue from that track. And the reason to get those branching tokens, now, if you choose an action to get a branch token, you only get half of the token. So you have to spend 2 actions to get a full token. So off your, say, red track, you want to create a branch, well, then you have to play that branch token to go off in another tangent from there, but still with the red track. So you can keep that a continuous piece as you move around. And you have a couple different type of lines you can lay. In a 4-player game, you have 2 different colors you're going to be laying out into the city. So the basics of your turn is really straightforward. Placing track or grabbing branching tokens. And once your turn is complete, then it's time for the passenger to move. Now, at the start of the game, you have to get some destinations out there. So you're gonna draw 4 cards and place out these destination cylinders. These are the basic components. They do have upgraded ones, which you should check out. They look fantastic. And then you have the starting position for the passenger. And he's going to move. Now, on the New York side, he's going to move 2 destinations, and on the Paris side, he's going to move 1. New York being the more fast-paced map. Now, his whole goal is to avoid walking. So he's going to take the fewest amount of lines as well, because he hates to change tracks, but he always will travel the underground before walking. And for every player, every track that he travels on to get to his destination, the players are going to get 1 point if he hits their track. And he may hit their track multiple times, just depends on how the routes pan out for the different destinations. And he's always going towards the closest destination. Now, the passenger may run into instances where there's the same number of empty spaces and the same number of lines to a location or a destination. And in that case, it's up to the player who's controlling that passenger for that turn in order to determine which path they take. So there are some variations that are going to happen, and it does change up quite a bit as the map evolves through the game. It really becomes an interesting puzzle, which I like. And then once you reach destination with the passenger, that destination marker comes off, that card is discarded, and a new card comes out, and the destination marker moves to a new location. And so that's really all the basics of what you need to know to play the heart of the game, so to say. And now let's take a closer look at the differences between the maps. So one of the things I really like about all the maps is they have a grid-based system. So when you're finding destinations, if you're not familiar with the city, it's easy to place them and so forth. So like C3 and B2, things like that. Now, this is the Paris side of the map, and there's really 4 new ways to score, which I really like in this map. First and foremost, you have the blue stations, the RERs, and the first time you connect your line to one of those, it's worth 0 points. But everyone after is going to give you a point, and what's nice here is that they have a handy guide to show you how all the points work for both maps. And it's just quick and easy reference, and then you're going to put your points around the edge of the board, move your marker along it. So it's that quick and easy. I like that a lot. Now, terminus stations, the red ones, are fantastic because you have options here. When you connect your line to a red station, you're going to either get 2 points, you can get 1 point and 1 branching token, or 2 branching tokens. So it's up to you. It gives you a lot of different variations on how you want to use those points and connect to those areas for sure. And then we have landmarks, which is the set collection part of the game. As you connect your line to a landmark, you'll pick up that token and put it in front of you. Now there's 5 different types of landmarks, and if you collect a full set of 5, then you're gonna get 7 points. Now you can also use your branch token, a completed branch token, as a wild to complete your set as well. So that's another nice option for sure. Now, the last thing I really like about the Paris map is the fact that you have private objective cards. And at the end of the game, you will total these. And the end of the game always is triggered by running out of the destination cards. Now, these are going to be worth 3 or 5 points, but it depends on how many of the different lines you connect. So on a 5-point card, if you connected 2, then you're going to get 10 points. So it really does add a lot that can potentially ramp up the score at the end of the game. Oh, and another thing you can do with branch tokens in the Paris map is the fact that if you need to place a track piece in a connection that is already full, well, you can spend 2 of these branching tokens to place your track there anyway. Really, really handy indeed. So that's kind of the basics of what's new in Paris. Let's jump back over to New York now. So there are some different ways to score here as well. There is no set collection, but it does allow for this map to be much faster to play. Not only that, but again, the passenger goes to 2 destinations every player's turn. Now, first you have the national stations. The blue ones here are going to only get you 1 point the first time you connect a line to it. And you do have red stations as well. These are terminus stations, but when you connect to one of those, you're going to get 2 points and you're going to get 1 of the branching tokens. New York also has clusters, which are the big purple splotches out on the board. And the first time you connect to one with your line, you don't get any points, but after that, it really starts to ramp up as you connect 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you'll see the handy score guide here showing how quickly you can get points for connecting clusters through a single line. And then you have the water crossings. And when you connect your 3rd icon to a line, then you're going to get 3 points for these water crossings. And it's also important to note, when you do go across a water crossing, you can't just end your line there, you have to finish that. So you have to have enough track, enough actions to do so and so forth as you move around the New York board. It is definitely a much faster paced board, but they both have some really nice benefits and different ways to play. And then of course, at the end of the game, the player who has the most points will be the winner. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, this was just an overview, a look at all the differences and things you can do in the game, but as you play and as your different lines expand across the city, you'll start to see some really interesting strategies come into play as you try to figure out where the passenger is going to be, or just kind of plan for where he might be in the future, but it's all dictated by where the cards are and where the destinations come up. And again, I love the fact that the theme is that he's so lazy, he doesn't want to walk. So he'll travel on a line across the city before he'll walk 1 or 2 spaces to that destination. Lots of fun there. And it is definitely an engaging game. Again, I can't stress enough about how easy it is to engage new players with this. Really straightforward to jump into. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.